Yo, Igor Dre, but you can call me Dre. And today we have another video saying Amber Sapphire versus Blue Green. So Emerald Sapphire. If you guys like the video, like it. If you guys like my channel, subscribe to it. We're going to do more of these as much as possible. Obviously, come over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/ego_Dre to be able to follow me, subscribe to me, and see me do these things live. And let's get into it. Just a heads up. Before I do get into this, I am going to say that this is a really long game, so I am going to probably do this a little differently. I'm probably just going to let it play out and just kind of talk over the plays as I do without pausing too much. So that way we can kind of go over as much of it as possible before we just end up, not getting through this video fast enough. But all right, so let's go ahead and get into it. We have Nakoma, 4 cost, Visions of the Future, the Horseman Strikes, Let It Go, Hades, and Moana, and Sail. Obviously, I'm going blind, so I don't really know what I'm playing against. I either keep the Nakoma and keep these two, the Moana and the Sail, but most likely what I end up doing, what's F11 here, by the way, or F11 here, F11 here. There you go. So probably what I end up doing is I keep the Sail and the Moana, and then the Nakoma maybe, since I'm going in blind, but let's just see how I kind of play it out. So looks like I don't end up keeping the Nakoma. I just end up looking for the ramp package, which is totally fine. I end up finding the develop and the Sail and the Cinderella as well too, which is really nice. Ink the Hana play the develop at a card, which is obviously the Ink Runner. He ends up inking, so I know I'm playing against green now. I go for a Sail and ink the Visions. I think there might be a point in time where I'm supposed to get rid of some of these songs. I could be wrong though. So okay. So we end up just going for the ramp line here, which is definitely correct. I think versus the blue-green deck. I think when you're playing the blue-yellow deck, you want to be able to ramp as much as possible because you already know what they're going to do to you, right? They're going to end up trying to get rid of your cards. So if you can ramp while inking a lot of your ramp cards, this is really good. So as you can tell, like I'm playing down the Cinderella and the Moana. The second the Moana hits the board, Sail goes from my grave straight into my inkwell because you're trying to play around the geyser as much as possible. So he ends up also going for double ramp, which is pretty scary for me. I end up going for Sail, double ramp from the grave. So now there's 2 Sails in my grave as well too. I also have a Tipo in my hand. I go ahead and play another Sail, get more ink in the grave as well too. Go for a Pete, and now we're looking pretty good here. I think the issue, I end up Let It Going the Donald Duck. That's not terrible. So I think we're looking pretty good. The issue is he just plays down a Clarabelle here and then is able to, draw a couple more cards. But that isn't too bad for me. If I had an out here, though, for the Clarabelle, it's pretty good. So maybe I'm supposed to save the Let It Go at some point in time. I'm not sure. Pete ends up finding us a card. We just go ahead and play down the Stitch to get more cards in our hand, which I don't know if it's super completely correct. So sometimes against this deck, it's okay to cheese them out with a Raging Storm. There might have been an argument here for me to just quest out, get my Pete search, and then Raging Storm. So that way I'm able to out this Clarabelle here because this Clarabelle is going to do damage. But I get out as many bodies on the board as possible. The issue is basically what I'm saying here is have the board wipe or you're screwed. I end up resolving my thing. So he does not have the board wipe. So he's still kind of screwed. But he ends up bouncing back multiple of my cards. So I think that was a You're Welcome as well too that he ended up playing. And he ends up drawing a bunch of cards. So you see how just ridiculously important this Clarabelle was, right? Like I had to, if I was able to clear that Clarabelle just a little bit earlier, like I'm probably looking at a better board state. Right? So the idea is maybe saving the Let It Go for Clarabelle specifically rather than using on the Donald might be a big argument here. Because this game would end up looking completely different, right? Because then his Clarabelle doesn't resolve twice on me, whereas that last turn it resolved once for 2, and then it resolved another time for 1 billion. Because I wasn't able to find the out that turn. If I just find the out that turn, maybe it's fine though. I get some quest in. I end up. So I'm looking pretty deep here, right? Like I'm looking pretty good because I go to 17. So it's like, even if he board wipes me here, like I have a lot of things that keep me alive. The issue is he's at 14 ink. So he's always going to be able to constantly play out bodies and remove bodies on my side of the board. And then he plays the Geyser. And this is where the game actually begins, right? So a lot of the times when you're playing against Geyser, you're playing with or against a Geyser. There's 2 ways you want to think about it, right? You want to think about pre-Geyser. So how you play during the pre-Geyser and how you play post-Geyser. Right, so there's there are certain things that when you're playing pre-Geyser, you have to think about what you're putting into the well, right? And then what you're playing onto the board, because especially if you're playing it into a blue mirror, you know the things that are on your board are probably going to get inked into your well. So then once that starts happening and you're able to kind of keep track, like I don't expect you to keep track of every single card, but you kind of have to have a rough idea of like what's in your well, right? Like for example, a lot of the times when I was playing the deck, I would be thinking like, okay, I inked this malicious, I inked this Philip, and I think I inked a You're Welcome. So I'm probably going to get some of those cards back. You have to be thinking about it like that while you're playing. Right, so now it's looking pretty rough for me because he's got a huge board and I got to be able to ramp and clear the board as well too. I end up going for some fast ramp here, get rid of the Johannas because they're not very good in this matchup. I play down a Tipo. Tipo goes ahead and inks a card. He plays down Cinderella, and he's going to get a lot of quest here. Luckily, I was able to ramp up to 7, which means I can Raging Storm him next turn, so that's good for me. It doesn't look like he has too much ramp other than the Cinderella, but Cinderella's usually enough. He goes to 6, I go to 8. Quest with the Tipo, go to 18. Play out the Raging Storm. But now the issue here is that he's able to play out a board again, right? And so now I have to go ahead and try to fight for the board again. So the fact that there's not a Sail or a Tipo in my hand is depressing. But I'm able to out the Donald. Ink that, play the Alonwi. And then he gets to John Silver. John Silver is really huge here because like I am constantly putting lethal on the board. But if he keeps putting up John Silver, then I'm gonna be in a bad situation, right? I seem to let it go on the John Silver because I need to be able to play. I go ahead and Hades the Duck. So now the issue here is that now he has enough to be able to just hard play the Philip combo, right? Which he's probably gonna end up doing. He ends up doing it. Hard play. Hard play. And now I have to deal with this Philip, which I end up doing. I end up dealing with the Philip. I play down Cinderella, maybe get a little bit more quest down, and then I play down a Lonway, I think, too. So just important that I'm constantly representing lethal over and over and over again, right? So constantly representing lethal every single turn. It's like you can't have that many board wipes. The issue is he has a lot of ink as well, too, so he's kind of keeping up with me. I go Hades to be able to clear that. Put down a Moana as well, too. Top card, I find another board wipe, which is good. He goes Malicious. Plays down Philip again. Okay, so now we have to start counting, right? It looks like we've seen 3 Malicious. I was able to out that. I don't know what I outed it with. Oh, with Horseman Strikes. Pete, he plays down Clarabelle. You're Welcome is my board, and now he is looking really good here because he's at 17 and I'm at 19 still, and he has like all of the tempo because I have to Raging Storm myself to be able to clear his board, whereas he doesn't have to Raging Storm me, he just has to Malicious Philip. But I'm able to put down a body. He's able to just bounce that back with Basil. So this is what I was saying about pre-geyser and post-geyser. Post-geyser, a lot of the times, Basil is crazy. Crazy post-geyser. Basil becomes one of your best cards. So because he's able to just Basil put back one of my bodies, now it's just tough. I have to Raging Storm this board again, which it wasn't even a real board, which sucks. And I just don't have the ink to be able to keep up too much. He goes Basil, bounce back my dude, play Clarabelle, and now he just has game on board, right? I need to be able to out this. I can't out this. So I think one of the bigger misplays that I had, I think I was valuing these Spooky Sites a lot. There's a lot of times in this matchup where Spooky Site is good because they will play down John, 2-cost John, like the 3-cost John, and the 3-cost John gets hit by the Spooky Site, which is nice, right? That's what makes Spooky Site good, but I think I was overvaluing it. I think there's a lot of times where I had the opportunity to ink it and I didn't, just because it's a spell that says remove bodies, and in my head I'm thinking, oh, let me remove bodies. But he's not putting down 3-cost John here, or 3-cost Philip. I kept saying John. 3-cost Philip and or any of like his baby questers. He's just forcing me onto game with Basil Cinderellas, and it's just rough for me, right? So, but yeah, let's go ahead and get into the next replay. So I end up losing that at 19 lore, heartbreaker, but it is what it is. Let's go. I didn't get to see the mole there. Let's see what the mole was. So Tipo, Sail, Horseman Strikes, Alonwi, Hades, Spooky Sight, Visions. I'm probably going to end up keeping the 1 cost in my ramp. So 1 cost, 2 ramp probably, so that way I don't break into it later. I do end up doing that, so it looks like I end up finding some of the ramp, but it's good to keep 2 ramp options in the blue-yellow deck, because if you don't see Cinderella, your deck doesn't work. So you have to, at least on 4, be able to ramp twice. So it looks like what I end up doing is I ink to Let It Go. I play Develop. Add the Moana because Moana's a good card. He inks a Philip and passes, which is good for me. I ink a Tipo. I play the Sail. I ink an Alonwi. And I do decide to play out the Alonwi because maybe I can probably get some quests out on the board. Oh. He goes Tipo. Tipo ink a card. I go ink Horseman Strikes, play the Tipo. That's kind of scary to do versus this deck because a lot of the times with this deck, the only answer to Philip is the Horseman Strikes, but I guess it's fine. I end up deciding to ink the Moana. The reason why is probably because I want to play to the board with this Pete, and he's only at 3 ink, so there's not a lot that he can do to this Pete just yet. Even if I play it down. So he doesn't end up playing 4 costs, so maybe he can You're Welcome the Pete, but that's like honestly fine for me, I would say. I end up playing down the Pete, inking the Nakoma, and then boosting it. Get a cheeky little quest with the Tipo. He goes Tipo for a double ramp. It looks like. No, yeah, it was a double ramp. Yeah, it was a double ramp. I get maybe he just drew into this. This is interesting. I don't know why he did it this way, but I'm able to get the Pete down. I get a Visions. Visions is gonna look for a card. It finds the Hades, which is pretty good. I ink the Ohana, so now I'm at 7. Now he plays down his Clarabelle. He just quests, so I am in luck. He does not have the song as well too, so he doesn't have the broken board. But he does have Under the Sea, which is pretty good. So he didn't quest actually. He just sang Under the Sea is what it was. So, but I have the Singular out to Clarabelle, which is really good for me here, even though he has a lot of cards. The Pete, he goes for just a regular fill up to clear the Pete, which I think is pretty decent. Yeah, which is pretty decent. But I also have another Hades, so we'll see how this ends up going. If I remember correctly, this is like the longer game. Hades does end up taking out that. I swing over a Tipo, which is questionable, honestly, because now it played into the Prince Philip. I think that might have been a misplay. I think I'm supposed to just regular quest there, because the Tipos aren't doing too much crazy stuff to me. But to be honest, if this is the game that I'm thinking about, I think this Tipo is going to get him a lot of lore. So we'll see what ends up happening. I play out a Stitch for fun, just to get the body down. Questionable. Again, questionable. He geysers there. So he geysers there, which is pretty, honestly, it's pretty early because he has, dang, I didn't get the Horseman Strikes back. He does have a Phillip down, which, don't get me wrong, is good, but he's given me the Let It Go back now, right? He also doesn't have Clarabelle yet. Maybe he knows he inked a Clarabelle earlier. I don't remember if he did or not. But playing out the Geyser there is a little preemptive. I wonder what his hand was. But now he plays out a couple bodies. So now I'm able to sing the Let It Go on the Phillip, which is obviously first case thing. Let's play out the Cinderella so we can get some ramp going ourselves. And I have Spooky Sight in my hand, so Spooky Sight might be decent here. He ends up using both of his bodies to... So here I think I end up not valuing my Spooky Sight at all. Let's see what I end up doing. I go and play Sail. I put both of the Ohanas onto the grave because they're probably never going to resolve this matchup. I go Tipo. Tipo inks the Spooky Sight, which I knew was going to happen. I end up playing out the Cauldron. Why does this go here now? It used to go here. I don't like that. What do you do? He Under the Seed me. Okay. But I have the Cauldron up, so that's not terrible. And I also have Board Wipe. So now he's playing a lot of cards down, so that way he can get his Clarabelle going. He gets the Clarabelle going. I end up going Board Wipe. Do I Cauldron? I do Cauldron. I put something under. I don't know what it is. I put a Hades under, so that's looking really good for me. He has to be able to out this. Right? He is just playing some Visions, some search cards. Does nothing because he doesn't want to just get Hades, right? So I think I end up playing down the Moana. Moana gets me some ink. I Cauldron to put something in. Arguably, I could also play down the Nakoma there, so maybe that might also be a thing. John Silver's good. So then he plays another Geyser here. And again, like I said earlier, right? Like these are preemptive. These are very preemptive. I'm not the biggest fan of playing the Geyser down this early when you have like not enough board control. Like the type of board control you want in this matchup a lot of the times is you want at least 2 bodies and for me to have none, right? Because if you end up geysering me, it makes me have to both ramp and do stuff at the same time, while I'm basically playing into your board. So it makes it a little too tough for me to be able to play into you when you have an actual board and then you resolve the Geyser. These Geysers are really preemptive. I don't know if like his hand is just so bad that he has the Geyser in this situation. I wish I could see his hand, but that's just how I feel about it, I guess. I think I misplayed there. I inked from hand. I'm trolling. I am so trolling. Cut me some slack. It was probably like 3 in the morning when I was playing this at this point in time. If it wasn't 3 in the morning, it was pretty late. Okay, now I actually ink from the grave like a man. He goes Sail. Look at the shiny sails. He goes ink. So now he's buffing up, but he has 2 Ink Geysers in the grave. As I'm playing this game, now I know that Ink Geyser isn't in the deck anymore. And if this guy's in 3 Ink Geyser, he's just better than me. I played this out. I just get more bodies on the board because I'm just down to do so. Because I know the Geyser isn't there, so I have to put him on, like, Philip me or you're screwed. Again, as much as you can do that as possible, I always suggest doing it. Instead, he goes for Clarabelle stuff, which is pretty good. He resolves it Under the Sea versus me, which is totally fine. I ink from the grave. I play out the Stitch to be able to get more bodies out. These Moanas are getting me a lot of lore, which is nice. So now he has to swing into me, which he ends up doing. And we want him to swing into us and use his cards to be able to get rid of my bodies because we have the board wipe in our hand. He ends up getting a bunch of cards off Clarabelle. He's at 15 cards, and I'm at 23. This is going to be one of those games where it looks like I might be able to deck him out, to be honest with you. I'm able to double ramp as well, too, after I board wipe. He gets out more bodies. He gets a little bit more ink in. I go for Moana. Moana's inking stuff from the grave. I think I just let it go to something. He goes Cinderella. Now he has all of these baby bodies on the board as well too. This is what I mean basically by Spooky Sight being like decent in this matchup, because a lot of the times versus this deck they'll end up in a situation where they do this. So like maybe keeping one Spooky Sight in hand at some point in time is good in this deck, right? So let's see how I end up playing it out. I end up playing Cinderella, so I can get some more ramp and filter a little bit. I'm at 19 to his 11. I'm not scared of decking out before him. Now he is at 5. No, he visions, so he's not at 5. So now we want to start counting. I don't know how much he put in as well, but we're going to start counting some of the board wipes, right? So he's used 3 UTSs on me and only 1 malicious. I think he has all his Phillips still. So it's looking pretty dire in my situation, but I think I might be on another Raging Storm. Let's see, I have 2 Raging Storm in here. Yeah, so I have 1 more Raging Storm coming up, unless I inked it, which I highly doubt I did. Not something you do in this matchup. He's at 11, so it's looking a little scary. I have Visions, and I find the 3rd Raging Storm, which is huge for me here. I go ahead and storm his board. I have 5, so I'm able to play that out. And I think I just pass. I'm holding these Horseman Strikes for the point of time. See, again, Post Geyser, this card being insane. The Moana basically comes down. I'm probably holding these for Phillips if he has any. Luckily, I have a Hades, so I go ahead and Hades out his Basil. I play down Moana. I play down Stitch to be able to get more cards. Again, he's at 7. I'm at 12. I don't care. He goes Malicious. He goes Phillip. Okay, so we're playing through these things. And again, this is why we hold these cards here, right? Because we want to make sure that we're playing through this Phillip as much as possible. Looks like he has 2 Malicious. How many Phillips is this so far? 1 Phillip. Am I missing any of the 9 costs? There's 1 on the board as well too. I have to keep putting. So the issue is his board wipe requires 2 cards, right? 2 card combos. He's just done it to me twice. That's 4. That's 4 of it. Unless his hand is literally another Malicious and another Phillip, I think we're in a good spot as long as we just go ahead and Horseman Strikes this and keep putting out cards. Boom, and I draw into another Horseman Strike. So now the Phillip is never going to be a problem, right? And Moana doing the heavy lifting here because Moana is doing a lot for me. Whether or not I boost here, I don't think I do. Yeah, I don't. So now he plays a Clarabelle, which I'm totally okay with. You can have as many cards as you want, bro. You have 5 cards in your deck. Distract. Didn't know he's on that card. I think I'll let it go from the grave. I go Stitch to draw 2. I'm putting me at 6 to his 4. I don't think there's a way that I can deck out yet. And now this is lethal on the board. He has to have the combo. And it looks like he has the combo. He does not have the combo. So he's able to use the combo to clear some of my bodies on board, which is good for him. But again, I have this Hades in hand, so it's just gonna be pretty strong for him, for me, right? I end up going Hades just to be able to clear the John Silver, I'm assuming. Yeah, and I just fully ignore his Clarabelle because the Clarabelle isn't giving him game, and I just put as many bodies on the board as possible. He has like no cards. I don't know why we did this to each other. And basically that was the game. So totally played completely differently, right? I think his geysers were really preemptive. If he didn't have to geyser that early, then it would have been really good for him. But I think there were a lot of times in that game where I played around as much as possible these board wipes, as much as I could, because the issue with this board wipe combo is that it's multiple cards versus my board wipe, which is only 1 card. However, his board wipe gives him tempo on the board, whereas my board wipe does not. Right, so it's like it's more of like I am trying to make it so that my other cards have more value, such as the Horseman Strikes, versus his bodies. And my cards basically just have more value when they resolve. So let's go into game 3. Let's go and hide this. And then we'll go ahead and play this. Let me see what we have mulligan. So it looks like I have a bunch of Cinderellas in my hand. I probably end up putting back at least 1 Cinderella, right? At least 1 of the Cinderellas. If not 1 of the Cinderellas, then 2 of the Cinderellas. I do end up putting back only 1 Cinderella, and I full keep this hand because this hand is really good. So he gets to go first. I think this is the first time going first all game. So he ends up inking Prince Philip and not playing anything. So he doesn't have 1 cost Clarabelle, which is good for me. Issue with the shift deck. If you don't see your shift target, then you're in a bad situation. I played the Tipo. Tipo probably inks the Hades. Yeah, Tipo inks the Hades, which is really interesting. I end up not doing the Cinderella because I'm probably going to try to double ramp next turn. But I think honestly, they're both going to end up getting inked anyways. So I can't speak. He goes sail. Ink, so he's ramping on me. He's just playing down a Tipo, or he just has a Tipo, I'm assuming. So this is basically telling me that he has Clarabelle in hand, and he's just trying to get to the Clarabelle as fast as he can. I go Cinderella, Cinderella trigger. I ink the Visions from my hand, which is a risky line because I didn't have a lot of inkables, but I think having the Cinderella here is pretty valuable as well too. And if I can just trigger the second Cinderella, I think we're good. Not only that, he doesn't have any singers on the board, so I think it's okay because the Cinderella is never gonna resolve crazy unless he hard plays a You're Welcome, or is never gonna be outed unless he hard plays You're Welcome, which I think we're okay with. He does end up hard playing You're Welcome again, which I said I think we're okay with, but he's most likely going to play this Clarabelle next turn, which is a little bit scary, so definitely something to think about. But now we have a lot more cards on our hand to ink, which is really good for us. We end up playing Cinderella again. Quest Cinderella triggers, and we put the Develop away because the Develop wasn't doing anything. You cannot ink Raging Storm in this matchup. Raging Storm is just too important. So he ends up going Clarabelle. Boom. So I think this is where I'm going to end up just Raging Storming to be able to do it, because it's going to put him on the back foot, which is what I end up doing. Boom. I end up Raging Storming him anyways, because I need to just get that Clarabelle off the board. That Clarabelle is everything. If I have nothing on the board, he has nothing that he wants to Basil or John Silver or hit. So we'll see what he ends up playing instead. He ends up playing a Donald Duck, which is good for us. I go ahead and play Sail. I play Moana. Moana inks twice from the grave. And now he has Basil and Donald Duck, right? And so this is an interesting situation where he has a way to draw 2, and he has the Basil as well too, which is going to do stuff to my board, or do stuff to my hand. I think here I end up going Hades onto the Basil, right? And now he just gets to keep the Donald, which I'm fine with. I get to play the Cinderella. Gets to ink another card. And so he ends up going hard play under the sea to be able to clear my board, which I'm okay with. It looks like I go sail for the Moana again. See, the Moana is just putting in heavy lifting, and I'm inking these things before the geyser comes out, and then I just let it go his Donald Duck. So now he has, 6 cards in hand, and he's got Donald. And so this is also an interesting turn here because I'm able to ink from the grave, and I think what I end up doing is I probably end up full board wiping here. I do end up so what I end up doing is I use Moana to be able to quest and be able to ink from the grave, and I just full board wipe him because you want him to not be able to draw any cards at all and never have board control, right? And this is just really good for me because he doesn't want a geyser in this situation. If he geysers in this situation, it's just tough for him, right? So we end up playing out a Pete. He goes John Silver. John Silver isn't a lot. He plays out a Cinderella to be able to put down another card from his hand. So we're assuming that he probably has another way to be able to out us here. It looks like, wait, what did I end up doing here? Wait, that looked crazy. Why did it say, why did it, wait, why did it do the Ohana? Wait, what? Okay, I'm assuming I just Raging Storm myself here, right? I think what I do is I go Pete, I add the Ohana from the top of my deck, and then I Raging. What was that? But it looks like I end up Raging Storm here just to be able to clear your board. So, like, as you can see, I'm playing super aggressively with my Raging Storms here just to make sure that he never gets like a crazy Geyser or a crazy Basil turn, or sorry, a crazy Clarabelle turn off. Yeah, I don't know why it looked like that. That was crazy. But I ended up getting the Pete down. He plays a Clarabelle, inks a card to draw 1, and I am looking really good here because now I end up drawing the out, and I have a Pete as well too that I can resolve. I end up going Pete. What do I add? I add a Cinderella. I out the Clarabelle. I play a Cinderella, and I played down a Cauldron, which is good, really good for me because he has to look for his 1-cost Clarabelle to be able to out my bodies. 1-cost Clarabelle to be able to out my Cauldron. And now I have another Hades as well too, so we're just looking really good. And I'm going Cauldron to put something else down. I undo it. I put something else in. Oh no, I'm able to play from the grave. That's what I do. So I just play from the grave, and I say, hey, if you have the board wipe me. And it does not look like he has the board wipe. He had to You're Welcome his own Tipo. When you're playing against the blue-green deck, you love to see them do this. You want them to hit their own Tipo, or you want them to You're Welcome their own cards. That's like the best thing ever. And now we're triggering double Pete, so we're just looking really good, and we're on the board with Lore as well too. He has to at some point Prince Philip me, and only has 4 cards in hand. He has not Clarabelled me yet. So he hard plays, boom, goes for the Prince Philip line, which is totally fine with me because we have way more outs for it, and we top deck the Horseman Strike on him, which is really good. We play out from the grave, we go Moana, and we play out Cinderella. We're just not using any of our crazy cards here. We just replay the board again. What are you going to do? He goes Under the Sea just to be able to out some of the cards on the board. We're at 23 ink, and he hasn't geysered us once. But I think it's a little too late for him to be able to geyser me at all. He goes visions, looking for something to get him out of it, and he scoops. So that looks like that's what it is. That's look like that how you kind of want to play. This is kind of how you want to play into this deck. Sometimes you have to cheese them out with a Raging Storm. I think Raging Storm is actually really good to cheese them out early, so that way they're not able to ever get off like crazy value off the Clarabelle. I think the main thing is that you're able to get the value off the Clarabelle away from you. So that way, you're able to keep a lot of cards in your hand and be able to put bodies on the board. Use your Moanas and your Peats. Those are huge. And yeah, I think that's about it. If you guys like the video, like it. If you guys like my channel, subscribe to it. Again, I am live every weeknight over there at twitch.tv/ego_Dre. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.